Dear students, in this class we are going to learn about chain or addition polymerization via free radical mechanism. What is chain or addition polymerization? During the classification of polymers, we have made addition and condensation polymer or thermoplastic or thermosetting polymers. In addition polymerization, there is no elimination of molecule. The molecular weight of the polymer formed is an exact multiple of the monomeric units. Whereas in condensation polymerization, the molecular weight of the polymer formed is not exact multiple of the monomeric units, but it takes place with the elimination of certain molecules like water, methanol, or ammonia, etc. So chain polymerization or addition polymerization results in thermoplastic material. Why it is called chain polymerization? Because this polymerization takes place among the unsaturated monomers like ethylene, propylene, butylene, olefin, dienes, allyl compounds. So, in general, these monomers consist of a double bond, unsaturated bond, and it takes place via self-addition of the monomer. The monomer gets added one by one, step by step, and hence it can be called as addition polymerization or step growth polymerization, etc. So this polymerization can take place by three modes. One by free radical mechanism, number two by ionic mechanism, and number three by coordination polymerization mechanism. So we have free radical polymerization in our syllabus. And let us see the three steps, major steps involved in the free radical or addition polymerization. There are three major steps. One is called initiation, and number two, propagation, and number three, termination. So whether it is ionic polymerization, coordination polymerization, or free radical polymerization, it proceeds via these three steps. The first step, initiation, and the second one, propagation, and the third one, termination. So before the initiation process to take place, we should learn about a substance called a initiator. Okay. What are initiators? Initiators are organic compounds, molecules, which produces a pair of free radicals, and that in turn initiate the polymerization reaction. The organic molecule, which upon decomposition produce you free radicals. The free radicals are active species and which helps to initiate the polymerization reaction. So the process by which the free radical is produced is called initiation or free radical production. Okay, the substance which helps to produce or which helps to give you the free radicals are called initiators. Okay, so initiation can be of two types. One is called thermal means and another by photochemical means. So by thermal means substances can be decomposed to give you free radical within 40 to 60 degree centigrade, okay, in the presence of a solvent. That production of free radical, the rate of production of free radical differs from the initiator, the nature of the compound, the presence of solvent, and the temperature at which the medium is kept. and it differs from, for one single compound produces free radical at varying rate in the presence of different solvents at varying temperature. Okay. Initiators, there are many initiators available in the market, okay, and they possess a weak electronegative bond, okay. Generally, hydrogen peroxide, benzoyl peroxide, azobis isobutyronitride, and these are called initiators. So initiators give you a pair of free radicals. Free radicals contains a unpaired, a pair of an unpaired electron. So the general formula is initiator decomposed to give a free radical is this one. Initiator upon thermal or photochemical means decomposes to give you radical with an odd number of electron. For example, benzoyl peroxide. See this. This is an initiator. This upon heating to 40 to 60 degrees centigrade gives you this in turn will give you a benzene free radical and 2 molecules of carbon dioxide. So benzoyl peroxide undergoes a homolytic cleavage where this oxygen-oxygen electro the covalent bond between the oxygen-oxygen electronegative atom is broken because it is said to be a very weak bond. This gets easily broken up and gets you get a free radical of this type. Okay, and this is a highly unstable compound. This further decomposes to give you a benzene free radical, and this free radical can be used as an initiator. Now let us see another initiator. The azobis isobutyronitride. So this compound can be called azobis isobutyronitride. This upon decomposition, upon heating, give you 2 pair of so you get this free radical. Okay, so this can be used as a initiator for the polymerization reaction. Okay, so as I told you, the thermal initiation is very easy. Okay, and it depends on the nature of the solvent in which the initiator is kept and the temperature at which the initiation reaction is decomposition of initiator is being produced. Okay, but at the same time, it has its own disadvantage. The control of free radical is very difficult in thermal decomposition. Due to the heat capacity of the system retains the temperature for a period of time. So I hope you will understand what is meant by heat capacity of the system. The heat capacity of the system is nothing but the temperature required to rise 1 degree centigrade to any system. Okay, the heat required to rise 1 degree centigrade of a system. So if the sudden cooling of a system, okay, it doesn't stop the production of free radical. Okay, the temperature will remain in the system at least for a particular period of time. Okay, so therefore, if you want to control the reaction, polymerization reaction at a particular time, it becomes difficult for you. So therefore, the other method of producing the free radical is photochemical, initiator, photoinitiators. Okay, that is with the help of radiation, by passing through the radiation. There can be different radiations used. One is ultraviolet radiation, X radiations, even gamma radiations can be used to decompose this kind of initiators to produce free radical. Okay, normally ultraviolet radiation around 3600 Armstrong region is helpful for decomposing the same material, isobutyl nitrate. Okay, but the type of free radical produced in thermal initiation method and photochemical initiation method is the same. The nature of the free radical or the quality of the free radical won't be changed by changing this method from thermal to photochemical method. But the only reason is, if you want to, the better control, okay, if you want to control the polymerization reaction suddenly, okay, in a very short period of time, okay, you need to go, or you need to prefer the photochemical initiation process. Okay, so the free radical should be produced upon exposure by the radiation. If you want to stop the reaction, you can cut off the radiation. The moment you cut off the radiation, the production of free radical will also be stopped. Okay, so now we have learned the two techniques. One is thermal means of producing the radicals, and another one is photochemical means of producing the radicals. There is another method of producing the radical that is called by redox reaction. Okay, so for which no radiation or no temperature is required. Okay, so by redox means reduction and oxidation, which takes place simultaneously in a particular chemical reaction. Okay, so for example, I take this ROOH, a hydrogen peroxide, or H, you can say this, hydrogen peroxide. This, when reacts with Fe2 plus, oxidizes to Fe3 plus, and you get HO minus plus HO dot. So hydrogen peroxide reacting with ion Fe2 plus ion to give you Fe3 plus, a hydroxide negative ion and a hydroxyl free radical. Okay, so the Fe2 plus is oxidized to Fe3 plus. Okay, and then hydroxide radical is reduced to OH minus ion. Okay, how it takes place, and this breaks up. Okay, at the first stage you get 2 hydroxyl radical ion, 2 OH dot. Okay, and this takes up Fe2 plus accepts 1 electron from this. So this donates 1 electron. So the donation of electron is accepted by 1 radical, becomes HO minus, and another remains the same. Okay, so by this way also a free radical can be produced. Okay. So now that we have learned about the process of production of radicals with the help of an initiator. Now let's get into the main part of a polymerization reaction. So I told you there are 3 steps in the polymerization reaction. The first one is initiation, and the second one is propagation, and then the termination. So let us see the first process called initiation. Okay. So initiation is nothing but the process of initiating polymerization reaction, or the process of addition of free radical into a monomer. Okay. So now that we know the free radical is being produced by heating up or by passing the radiation through on the initiator. Okay. So once the radical is formed here, I generally write this free radical as R dot. Okay. Maybe it can be a hydroxyl free radical, benzoyl free radical, or AIBM, anything. Okay. And this can react with the monomeric species M. Okay. So what happens is that the radical transfers its lone electron into the monomeric species. So this becomes Rm dot. Okay. So this process we call it as an initiation reaction. So the transfer of electron from the radical to the monomeric species is called a initiation reaction. Okay. So I will give you an example. So let us take R dot and react with CH2 double bond CH Okay. A vinyl monomer. Okay. So X stands for halogen. Okay. Or a chlorine. If it is chlorine, it is called vinyl chloride. If it is bromine, it can be vinyl bromide. So I take up one monomeric unit. The monomeric unit reacts with the free radical. Okay. So let us understand how this reaction takes place. So this radical is like a prospective bachelor. Okay, which always is an unstable, which always tries to combine with another neutral species or another radical. Okay. So if there is a radical available, this radical will immediately attack and then gets neutralized. And since we have a monomer, a neutral species, this takes away an electron from this neutral species and gets stabilized. Okay. So now let us see how this takes place. So I have this double bond actually consists of one sigma bond and a pi bond. Double bond consists of a sigma bond and a pi bond. Okay. Sigma bond is it's more stable than the pi bond. So the attack always takes place at the pi bond, because sigma bond electrons in the sigma bond are very close to the nucleus, and breaking away of the sigma bond is difficult. So the radical prefers to attack the pi bond. Okay. So for convenience, I write this way. Okay. So this pi electron, okay, a pair of electron in the pi bond can be written as 2 dots. Okay. 2 electrons, but actually it should not be written as dot, because electrons are diffused clouds in the in a molecule, in the bond. So but it is very difficult to show a diffused clouds. So the most accepted practice is by putting the 2 dots. Okay. So this radical R, it takes away one electron. Okay, and this electron, lone electron, and this lone electron combines to give you a neutral R combines RCH2. Yes. So now we have one electron left with this. One electron is neutralized, okay, or react with the radical So the covalent bond is formed between the carbon and the radical. So now the residual electron, remaining electron, gets transferred to the chain end. Okay, it is transferred to the chain end. Okay, so now you can see the movement of electron. The movement of electron is from radical species to the monomeric species. From radical species to the monomeric species. So the radical transferred its lone electron to the chain end of the or terminal end of the monomeric species. Okay. Now this becomes an active part, and this is capable of initiating another chain. Okay, or capable of reacting with another monomeric molecule. So this first step of attacking of the free radical with the monomeric species, okay, is called the initiation reaction. So now that we have learned what is an initiation reaction, okay, the initiation reaction generally an exothermic reaction. But the reason why the initiation reactions are exothermic, a pi bond is broken up to form a sigma bond during the initiation process. Okay, a sigma bond is formed between the radical ion and the monomeric species. The pi bond existing on the monomer is broken up. Okay, so therefore the pi bond is usually at a higher energy level than the sigma bond. So therefore the difference of energy is released to the surroundings. Therefore we call the initiation reaction an exothermic reaction. Okay. Now let us move to the next part of our next step in the polymerization called propagation. Okay, so this is a very important step. The molecular weight of the polymer or the chain growth takes place in the propagation. Propagation is nothing but growing chain. Okay, the growth of a chain during polymerization reaction takes place in the propagation step. Okay. The propagation in the propagation reaction, so this is the product of initiation reaction. So where you have the radical attached to the monomer. The chain terminal is containing a radical ion. This reacts with a fresh monomeric unit. Okay, you can say this. This is another monomeric species. Now this radical is an unstable species, tends to withdraw an electron from the neighboring pi bond. Okay, so therefore this will give you RCH2 CH so the new bond is established between the free radical containing monomer and the new monomer. This covalent bond is established between these two. So as a result, what happens? Okay, so there is a remaining electron. One electron combines with this unpaired electron. So the remaining electron, residual electron, is transferred to the chain terminal. Okay, so likewise the propagation takes place. So as long as the monomer is available in the system, this step will continue. So if you have 10,000 units of monomers, the 10,000 units of monomeric units gets included in the chain one by one. Okay, so now you understand the meaning of the title addition polymerization. So the monomer gets added into the polymeric chain step by step. Okay, so the chain electron is transferred. So if you have N, then you will have n number of this unit, repeating unit gets included into the chain. Okay. So the next step, prominent step, is called the termination reaction. So the chain formed during the propagation step can be otherwise called a living chain or a living polymeric chain. Okay. The termination, let us pass on to the termination. What do you mean by termination? The word, by the word we understand it is something to stop or break. Okay. So in the polymerization reaction, the growing polymer chain is stopped or broken. So this process of stopping the growth of polymeric chain is called termination. Okay. So how does the termination take place? It can be by three methods. One, by coupling. Number two, by chain transfer. And number three, by disproportionation. So coupling can be either by, termination can be either by coupling, chain transfer, or by disproportionation. The three modes of termination of chains are available. Okay. So which the growing chain follows which route of termination? That depends on the nature of the monomer. Okay. So for example, methyl methacrylate prefers chain transfer than polyethylene or polypropylene. Okay, so nature of the monomer decides which mode of termination process to take place. Okay, so how coupling takes place? Let us see. Coupling is nothing but mere combination of the two growing chain. Okay, now I say this T. This is one. This is one growing chain. Okay, so it can be of n number. Okay, so this, when it reacts with a similar okay, so you have, this is one growing chain, the other growing chain. Okay, so these two chains on combination gives you a neutral or dead polymeric species. So these two unpaired electrons actually combines, okay, to give you a covalent bond. A covalent bond is established between these two growing chain. Okay, so this process we call it as a coupling method of termination. And number two is by disproportionation. Okay, disproportionation. And I see this R, H, H, okay, C, H, X. Okay, there is one growing chain and another growing chain. X, H, and R. Okay, the two growing chains we have. So what happens here? So a proton takes up one electron from this covalent bond and moves to the first growing chain. I mean, the proton is abstracted by the first growing chain. So in this case, what happens? You get two different species. Okay, you get two different species. One will be saturated and another will be unsaturated. So you get, upon abstracting this, one, X hydrogen. Okay, so this hydrogen with the odd electron is combines with this another odd electron of this monomeric species. So you can have a covalent bond is established. Okay, so with the other part, what happens? X, C H H R, and this unpaired electron combines with the electron left by the hydrogen atom, so you get a double bond, unsaturated. So here you have a saturated and an unsaturated species. Okay, so this is an unequal sharing. Okay, one takes up the proton, other leaves the proton. Okay, so this method of arresting the chain is called disproportionation. So another method is called chain transfer. With this we will close this session. Called chain transfer. So in both the species, previous steps, coupling and disproportionation, you have one, you have dead polymeric species are obtained. Whereas here, you have one dead polymeric species and another live polymeric species will be available. So the live polymeric species is capable of generating in another new chain. Okay, so that is why it is called a chain transfer. The one from the chain growth is transferred from one chain to the other chain. So let's see this. So I have this one growing chain. Okay, so this in presence of carbon tetrachloride, the solvent available, okay, in the medium. So this abstract this chlorine atom is abstracted by this carbon with a radical. So you get CCl3 dot. Okay, so you have one dead polymer and then another radical CCl3 dot is available. So this CCl3 dot is capable of initiating further polymerization reaction. So I hope you have understood the mechanism of free radical chain or addition polymerization reaction in this session. Okay, thank you.